Hello students, now in this video lecture we are going to study the next point of unit number 3, that is generalized structure of neuron and different types of nerve cells. So here is the diagram of generalized neuron or general nerve cell. Now it is known to you that the nervous system includes brain, spinal cord and nerves. The higher vertebrates, in case of higher vertebrates, this nervous system is divisible into three parts: the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system. So the brain and the spinal cord constitute the central nervous system, and the peripheral nervous system is consisting of different nerves arising from the central nervous system. The nerves arising from the brain are called cranial nerves, whereas the nerves which starts from the spinal cord are spinal nerves. And autonomic nervous system also present in our body, that is having two parts, namely parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. So here in this point, that is a generalized structure of neuron, the structural and functional unit of nervous system is our nerve cell or neuron. So anything you can call like neuron or nerve cell. The nerve cells, they are present in the brain, nerve cord, then nerves, ganglia and autonomic nervous system. The neuron is the largest cell in our body. No other cell is as large as the nerve cell. So the shape of this neuron is a oval type, or sometimes it also occurs in flask shape or star shape. So this neuron is having three parts, namely cyton, axon and number of dendrons arising. The part of a neuron that is looking like a cyton or soma is also known as perikaryon or cyton or soma. So this which looks like a cell is called cyton. It is surrounded by a thin cell membrane called neurolemma. Then the cytoplasm of the cell is called neuroplasm. Neuroplasm is consisting of prominent nucleus, fine filaments called neurofibrils, then some basophilic cells. I think these are not found in this cell, but small granules are present inside it, known as Nizzel's granule. And also there is mitochondria, Golgi complex, centriole, pigments, etc. They are present in the cell body. And Nizzel's granules, actually they secrete neuroplasm. The cell cytoplasm is drawn out into two types of processes, namely axon and dendrons or dendrites also. So dendrons are also called as dendrites, and one axon, single axon is present. Dendrons are short and they conduct nerve impulse into the cyton. They are highly branched and they contain Nizzel's granules and mitochondria. The axon is long process. It is larger in size and less branched. The cytoplasm of the axon is called axoplasm. It is covered by a thin membrane called axolemma. Nizzel's granules are absent here and it is carrying impulses away from the cyton. So axon is carrying the impulses away from the cyton, whereas dendrons, they conduct the impulse into the cyton, from outside the cell into the cyton. So these two things are very important. Then the axon is surrounded by some cells called as Schwann cells. Then myelin sheath is found. Here in this diagram also you can see the myelin sheath which is covering this axon, and the node of Ranvier is also seen. The point of constriction is called as node of Ranvier. The part between two nodes is called internode, and lastly there is nerve endings. Nerve endings are found. So this is about the generalized structure of nerve cell, and in the next slide you can see there are different types of neurons found. One is unipolar, another is bipolar, third one is pseudo unipolar, and last one is multipolar. So unipolar, in this type of nerve cell, there is a single process, the axon. So clearly it is visible that there is no dendrons present. Okay, so dendrons which are attached to the cell body or soma, those are absent here. Only a single process, that is axon, is present, so it is known as unipolar neuron. Then bipolar neuron is having the dendrons as well as there are two axons actually. Centrally there is soma or cyton is present at the center, and from both sides there is a presence of axon, so it is known as bipolar. So these neurons are spindle shaped and they possess the axons at one end and the dendrons at the another end. Then pseudo unipolar neurons. Pseudo unipolar neurons they are at first typically bipolar and spindle shaped. As development proceeds, the cell processes converge until these meet at one side of the cyton. Then this elongates so that a fine process is formed with a T-shaped division at the end. So it is looking like a T-shaped and it is pseudo unipolar neuron. And in case of the last one, that is multipolar neurons, these type of neurons possess a single axon. As you can see, only single axon is present and many dendrons are found, and the example is neuron of cerebellum. And if you classify it on the basis of functions of the neurons, they are called receptor neurons or sensory neurons. Second type is effector neurons or motor neurons. Third type is internuncial neurons. So first is the receptor neurons or sensory neurons. Receptor neurons or sensory neurons are bipolar or pseudo unipolar nerve cells, and they are performing the functions of reception and conduction of stimuli from peripheral receptors to the central nervous system. So they are sensory in nature. Sensory neurons, these are bipolar or pseudo unipolar nerve cells performing function of reception. They receive the sensation and conduction of stimuli. They receive the stimuli and conduct the stimuli from peripheral receptors to the central nervous system. And the second one is effector neurons or motor neurons. Effector neurons or motor neurons. These neurons send impulses to the effector organs such as muscles and glands from the central nervous system. Internuncial neurons. These are placed between receptor and effector nerve cells. Therefore they provide communication between receptor and effector cells. And if you classify it histologically, there are two types, myelinated neuron and non-myelinated neuron, with presence and absence of myelin sheath. And sometimes the classification is also done on the basis of the chemical substances which are released by the neurons. They are classified into two types, adrenergic neuron, and second type is cholinergic neuron. And adrenergic neurons are releasing the hormone called sympathin during nerve impulse conduction, and it is similar to adrenaline, and hence the name given to it is adrenergic. Example is sympathetic nerves. Cholinergic means acetylcholine is released during impulse conduction, and hence the name given is cholinergic. Parasympathetic nerves and sympathetic nerves of sweat glands and uterus are the example of cholinergic neurons. So this is all about the nerve cell, general structure of nerve cells and different types of nerve cells. Thank you.